So there's a rumor starting to make its rounds on the internet and specifically social media on Sunday that the Chicago Bears are ready to move on from head coach Matt Nagy, and a strong contender, a strong possibility to be their next head football coach would be none other than current Northwestern Wildcats head football coach Pat Fitzgerald. I believe the source of this report may have been Jason LaCanfora, which automatically leads you to not want to believe it and assume that it's lacking in credibility. And I certainly would like to believe that it is not a credible report whatsoever. I certainly would like to believe that this is just total and complete BS. But if we really sit down and think about it, outside of the fact of it's hiring a college head coach, just this truly feels like exactly the type of thing that Ted Phillips and George McCaskey would do, doesn't it? This feels like something they would want to make happen. This feels like something that they would put their hopes on. This feels like something that they could sit there and get a buzzy type of name in the Chicago market that a lot of people have an affinity for. And Pat Fitzgerald, both of his time as a player under Gary Barnett for the Wildcats in the 90s, especially that team that had the run and went to the Rose Bowl in the mid-90s. And also the fact that they could get this bigger name type of guy and not have to pay him as much as they might have to other truly big name NFL coaching candidates or college candidates coming to the NFL. Like, if you really sit down and think about it, this would be peak George McCaskey, peak Ted Phillips. It would totally be on them to already be zeroing in on a head coaching candidate when they should be zeroing in on a new general manager who would then actually make that decision to hire the next head coach, not bring in a general manager and say, hey, here you go. Here's who we want you to hire as head coach. Because that's not how any of this works. And in real reality, what they should be doing as an organization is they should be getting Ted Phillips the hell away from any and all football-related decisions, George McCaskey as well, going out and bringing in somebody credible, somebody believable, somebody with established pedigree that you say, okay, we're going to make you the president of football operations. You will run everything involving football operations. It all begins and ends with you. Buck stops there. Then you hire the general manager, who you then partner with to hire the head coach, etc., etc. So seeing these rumors come out don't surprise me at all. I'm totally not surprised that Pat Fitzgerald might interest the McCaskey family and interest Ted Phillips. I believe it. I absolutely believe it. That doesn't mean that they're going to make him a formal offer after the season. That doesn't mean that Pat Fitzgerald is destined ultimately to become the next Chicago Bears head football coach. But it's believable. And it is so typical of exactly what the hell I would expect a dumb dick organization like this one, caught up in a perpetual cycle for decades of the mediocrity of the McCaskey way, to do. So let me get this straight. Nagy's been a failure. Abject failure. Part of that is because the dumb dick general manager, the young wonder kid that you hired, oh, guess what? He didn't know what the hell he was doing. So now, when you look at this team, no cap space, limited draft pick capital, all types of holes on offense, most especially and notably the quarterback position, your thought process is to go hire a former college linebacker, become NFL head coach, who fields some decent defensive units at Northwestern, but his offense is typically a relatively pedestrian, and 2020 season is certainly no different. That sounds exactly like what the hell the Bears would want to do. Thinking to themselves, we got to go different here, and we got to go outside of the box. And instead of bringing in, a college coach that actually has legitimate credentials as an offensive genius like a Lincoln Riley or something like that, where we might actually have to pay top dollar for a head coach, let's go the second and third tier route and bring in the guy that's 2 games over 500 in his career at Northwestern in the freaking Big Ten. Isn't Pat Fitzgerald's Northwestern offense in the bottom 15 at the Division I level this year? And that's the guy that you want to bring in to fix it? It sounds so like Ted Phillips, so like George McCaskey. Because Pat Fitzgerald, by God, we love our inside and middle linebackers, so why not have one as our head coach? And why not sit there and get back to playing Bears football? Or we're going to play defense, and we're going to stop the run, and we're going to do all that crap that should have stayed the hell back in the 1980s and continues to perpetuate this cycle of the mediocrity of the McCaskey way. I absolutely fundamentally believe that Pat Fitzgerald would be in their sights as a possibility as their next head coach because it's stupid. Look, I'm not here to rag on Pat Fitzgerald or crap on Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's done a good job at the Vanderbilt of the Big Ten. What's his career record? Like 108 and 80? Not bad. Taking him to several bowl games. Won the Big Ten West Division, I believe, in 2018. I think he's going to do it again this year. Like, he's not a scrub. He's a good, solid college head coach in a perfect position where he has lots of job security. He has deep emotional ties and roots and historical roots to the program. It's a great beneficial relationship for all parties involved and exactly where the hell he should stay for many years to come. I'm not bringing in a middling college coach into a disaster area of an NFL situation and expecting him to work freaking miracles. If I'm going to bring in, and I'm going to go here, if I'm going to bring in a mediocre-ass college coach from the Big Ten to coach my team, then at least make it Jim Harbaugh. Because you could say what happened at Michigan has been crap, because it has. But at least Harbaugh has some damn legitimate chops as an NFL head coach. He took the 49ers to a Super Bowl. He won division titles. He's an offensive guy. He also has a great relationship with Vic Fangio, so if for some reason the Broncos idiotically want to fire him after the year, then you could say Jim Harbaugh comes as a package deal with his old defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, and look at that. Now, that's not what I want to happen. That's not what I'm calling for to happen. But if you're going to go the Big Ten route, and you're going to go for a head coach at one of those programs that doesn't contend for the Big Ten championship, that doesn't beat Ohio State, that doesn't do a lot of things, then at least go with the guy that actually has some long-time roots to the Chicago Bears organization and actually has legitimate NFL chops in Jim Harbaugh. Pat Fitzgerald? Pat Fitzgerald? The hell are you talking about? There's absolutely no reason to risk it with him. At least you can say with Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona, as weird as that one was, he got fired at college, so now you're going to sit there and bring him into the NFL and give him his own team? At least you could say, you drafting Kyler Murray number 1 and you know it. So you're bringing in a guy that you think his system's going to work incredibly well with a young quarterback. Okay, I could even jam with that. And so far it seems to have worked a little bit. It's resonated at least a little bit. But bringing in Pat Fitzgerald with his remedial-ass offensive mindset and game plan from Northwestern, how the hell is that going to solve anything? Like, you got to be clown school to sit there and think that Pat Fitzgerald is the desperately sought-out and needed answer to the problems of the Chicago Bears organization at the head coaching position. If I'm going to bring in, if I want to go another step, let's go another step. If I want to go defensive guy with middling performance in the Big Ten, then why not bring back Lovie Smith? Because at least the Lovie Smith has legit NFL experience, legit NFL success, legit ties to the Bears organization. If I'm going to do that, if I'm going to go down the route of bringing in a defensive-minded head coach from college, from the Big Ten, then why the hell would I choose Pat Fitzgerald, and why wouldn't I give a call to Lovie Smith at that point? You see how stupid this sounds? Not only is it stupid for this team to be entertaining talk of who they want to be their next head coach, because that either A, means they're not going to fire Ryan Pace, which is mind-numbingly stupid, or even as mind-numbingly stupid the possibility that they might still actually do that, and all the while they're already trying to pick out who the next coach is without allowing a legitimate team president, God, we need one, or a general manager to make that frickin' call. And then beyond all of that, you're not trying to bring in some super hot name. You're not trying to bring in somebody with legit offensive chops and know-how and expertise and knowledge. You're talking about going to the local conference, the Big Ten, and bringing in somebody in a conference full of a couple of guys with legitimate NFL head coaching experience and success that Pat Fitzgerald cannot boast. You're still trying to go down the, hey, Pat Fitzgerald's only in his mid-40s type of route and bring his ass in from Evanston. If you're actually down with this, what the hell is wrong with you? If you're the Chicago Bears and you really truly think that this is going to solve everything, I will also ask you the question, what the hell is wrong with you? This hire, beyond all else to me, would truly represent nothing other than what it would absolutely be, which is more of the same hashtag Bears football, hashtag McCaskey mediocrity. And anybody that supports this is a clown just like the McCaskey family and Ted Phillips.